dentist appointment, but man, I tell you, when you have appointments like that, it seems like it takes up your whole day, right? But a good checkup is always a good thing. So now I'm out here checking on my garden, giving a little water to some things in the afternoon sun, or after the afternoon sun's moved. Today I'm mostly going to be spending time getting the house together. I've got the sheets going. My husband gets home from a long drive, and there's nothing better than clean sheets when you get into bed, right? But got to take care of this garden here. And so far, all the stuff that I transplanted has been doing really well. This big hose I'm dragging all over the place. Poor apricot tree. It's not going to make it. But cool thing is, I talked to my dentist, and my dentist just happens to have a jujube. And he says you can't kill the things, which is really cool. And they're not prone to have problems with borers, like the borers won't eat them. So that's really cool too. The only caution he had was that they can like just shoot up roots and start a new tree any place where they find a water source. So we're probably going to want to put some kind of collar, like maybe even a culvert, to plant it within so that we don't have jujubes growing all over our entire yard. That's what I'm thinking. But most of this stuff is looking pretty good over here. And I'm happy about that. I stopped at Tractor Supply and I got some more treats for Meg. We've been doing a lot of treats lately. And while I was there, I saw this wildflower mix. And I was thinking wildflower mix would be a nice thing to mix in where I have my sunflowers and my squashes and melons and cucumbers, right? Because that'll help attract more bees. Plus, it'll bring more pollinators into the yard next to the fruit trees, too. Got a couple still waking up. Actually, almost everything's awake. Even that apple tree over there has got buds on it, which is awesome. There's our fig over here. Let's take a look at these figs. We're going to get some big ones this year. And if you've never had a fresh ripe fig, there's no comparison to a dried fig. Dried figs don't even do justice to how wonderful these are. We have a lot of figs here. I'm so excited about that. And you can just eat them fresh if you want. But another really cool way to make them as sort of a dessert is you can cut them in a quarter, like don't cut them all the way through, and you can put a little maple syrup and maybe like a savory kind of cheese and some balsamic vinegar and just bake them for like 12 minutes at around 400. They're super good. Hey Manu, welcome to the channel. Jonah, welcome to the channel. Thanks for joining us. We're just out here doing our secondary watering in our yard. Hey Chance, welcome to the channel. Hi, how you doing today? I'm looking at these figs. I'm so thrilled about these figs. One thing's for sure is figs, nothing really phases them. They do fabulous. It's a great tree to have in the desert. And the same with this kumquat. And the kumquat woke up. It's got all these new shoots on it, but it hasn't flowered yet, but I feel like it's really close. The other thing I'm doing is I think those are possibly will be flowers soon. So we're close. We're almost going to get flowers on this tree. The other thing I'm looking for is yesterday we had this ginormous grasshopper on our eggplant. And whoa, I definitely don't want that thing laying any eggs in our yard. And thank you. I'm glad you think my trees are beautiful. Oh, I just saw something move. You know what? Maybe that fig fell off. You know what? I think this tree needs a little more water. We have everything set to water at night right now, just once a day. And then I'm adding water as we need, but I haven't added any water onto this one, which tells you how hardy it is, right? So we'll just give it a little more here, make sure. If you start seeing fruit falling off of a tree that's healthy, that usually means it doesn't quite have enough resources. So let's just give this a little water while we're at it. These fireballs, these are really hardy also. This thing will just keep growing and growing, so expect to prune it if you have one of these, but they're wonderful, and the hummingbirds like the flowers, these bright orange flowers. And none of the critters have tried to eat it either, so that's awesome too. So we've got some sunflowers down here. This spot gets really hot right here, so I haven't really had too much live in this location. So I've got some sunflowers here. I have sunflowers and watermelon. Let me give you a peek at that. I'm hiding them right now because they're little tender shoots and I don't want the critters to eat them, because even if it's not something they normally would eat, with those soft shoots there, they'll just eat them in one bite and then you won't have any sunflowers or watermelon. So that's why that white stuff is there. And over here right now I just have sunflowers in this location, but I'm going to add sweetness melon seeds. Those don't germinate until it's about 70. And last year there was a fellow here in the southern Nevada area that was growing these sweetness melons, and they did fabulous even with the high heat we had. These are pumpkins. I had really good success with these pumpkins last year. And I have a watermelon over here. Rose bushes are gonna bloom. I came out and these had some powdery mildew on them, so I caught that just in time. I cleaned it up and we're gonna get roses after all. Yay! I'd be sad if that died. Unfortunately, our poor apricot is not long for this world. It sure tried. It definitely gave me the most beautiful flowers I've ever seen on a fruit tree. That was wonderful, but the fruit is all you can see. It's all diseased, and this poor tree has a lot of borers. So actually, when we take this down, it's going to be pretty disgusting. Pistachios waking up. All right, let's just go over here and drag in the hose. Still a little messy out here because I'm not quite done working out here. Okay, I don't need that piece. Oops. All right. Here we go. My hose isn't catching on everything. This is wood in buckets, and for a while they were saying it was going to rain. Didn't happen, so we had it covered. We paid the neighbors' gardeners. These branches were hanging halfway across the yard, which is a fire hazard, plus it blocked the light from my trees, right? It's nice to have a little bit of a sunblock, but you don't want it hanging halfway across your yard. I mean, these would be dangerous enough if there was ever a fire. Those things are like explosive. Where I come from in Alaska, the spruce trees, the black spruce trees, are kind of similar. That stuff really can catch. We'll just give a little bit of water here. This is our delicious apple. It wakes up later, and you can see, oh look, it's got blooms on it now. Yay, those are so pretty. Still waking up. It'll be interesting to see how many apples we get on this year. We got 4 or 5 little tiny baby ones last year. It was the first time it fruited. This mandarin's never put anything on it before. So maybe eventually, you never know. Sometimes fruit trees take 3 to 5 years before you get any fruit. So you really have to be patient. We're going to be planting a jujube soon in the place of that apricot. The good news is I've been blocking Scam Likely for like 4 days, and I'm not getting anywhere near as many calls today as I have been getting. There's a zucchini back here, a calendula, and I'm going to add some wildflower mix in there too to encourage the bees to check out my zucchini, right? Some more calendula. Calendula is in the marigold family, and it's really beneficial to your garden. Check out our lemon tree over here. Look at that. There's bees all over this. Let's see if I can zoom in on a bee for you. Let's try. They move so fast, it's hard. Moving all over the place. But I'm pretty sure we're going to get lemons this year, and part of it is I'm home and able to supervise the water on this tree and make sure it gets just enough, right? Not too much, but just right. That's our goal. All right, let's give it a little bit while we're talking about it. I had to cover this with sheets for a while because we had really high winds. And if you know anything about growing lemon trees, you'll know that if you have high wind and you don't protect your tree, you're going to lose your blooms and any fruit that's setting on. Sorry, buddy, I'm not trying to mess with you. Do your business. Get in there and get some nectar. Make us some lemons. That's what we want. still have to add bubblers to that bed back over there. I've got some more zucchini. I planted it there. Zucchini doesn't really like the intense heat. I haven't had a whole lot of luck with zucchini, so that's why I have them back here where they get some shade from the sun. So I'm hopeful that maybe I'll get some because I love zucchini. What about the rest of y'all? That stuff in Alaska, it grew crazy, like really grew good. And people would actually leave zucchini on your door because they'd have so much they didn't know what to do with it, right? Doesn't happen here. You can see this is a little dried out now, but we're just gonna add some water. And this is what the compost looks like from the electric composters. Works so great. You literally just take your eggshells, your coffee, whatever scraps you have, your apple core from your salad, and you put it in there, and it dehydrates it and it grinds it up, and it's a great nutrient source for your garden. And these are the manual ones. I'm going to be using these for yard debris. They take longer to break down, but it's a great way to get rid of all the leaves that fall out of those trees about 4 times a year. I tell you, this lemon tree, it smells like honey. It smells amazing. It's like one of the most wonderful things there is, this lemon tree. There's a bee. Are you getting it? I'm not trying to spray you. You just get in there and you have some nectar. You gotta be careful of these bees. I haven't really had any problems with them, but they are a cross between honeybees and killer bees here, so you definitely don't want to get them upset with you, right? You see that? I'm happy to report that bees are alive and well here, at least in my yard. I've been watching some channels that are talking that the bigger hives experienced, like honey producers, and apparently some people raise bees for farmers, right, to help them with their pollination levels, kind of like you can go buy ladybugs for your garden. And there's been like a die-off of 70 to 80% of these bees. So I would encourage everybody to plant a marigold, so that we're providing food sources for our pollinators. And be careful about what kind of products you use. Like, don't use Roundup on your grass, right? That actually is really harmful to humans too. There's cancers associated with using Roundup, so yeah, just say no to that stuff. And our pomegranates, look at this. These are blooming right now. Look at that. The hummingbirds like these too. And I'm hoping we don't get a week of 120, because last year this thing was covered. Actually, both of these, we have 2 pomegranates. Last year it was covered with pomegranates, but then we got that week of 120 and most of them split. So we didn't actually get to eat very many pomegranates. So we were able to rescue about 10 of them, and they're so wonderful and so good for you. And these pomegranates actually handle the heat really well, but it was just so hot it split the fruit. Let's come over here. Actually, let me put this on a different setting so I don't have to go all the way over there, because my hose doesn't quite reach that far. And you can see I have another rose bush back there. So it's kind of good to have flowers interspersed with your fruit trees, because until your trees wake up, it's nice to have some flowers for the bees, right? This is a bougainvillea. It hasn't woke up yet. No flowers on that yet. All right, this is our apple. This is really cool. This apple, I love it so much. Look at that. This is an Anna apple, and this handles the heat. This is a very, very hardy tree. This one actually had a borer infection as well, and I was able to cure it. If you live someplace where there's borers, you have to treat for borers in February, and you have to use a real pesticide for that. And in February, there's no bees flying around, so you're not going to have to worry about damaging the bees. Plus, your tree will cycle that out, and it won't end up in your food. That's why you do it in February, right? There's no blooms. I think you want to do it like 6 weeks before your trees wake up and start blooming, from a safety perspective for us and for the bees. But look at all these little apples. Here, let me adjust this here. There you go. You can see it better. Apple setting on. So when our trees are fruiting, I give them a little more water, and that's because they need more water to avoid dropping the fruit and not to get stressed from the heat. So what's remarkable is even though we have a mini orchard in our yard, we actually don't use more water than the average household here in Nevada. And that's important because Nevada does have a drought, so does California. And so we're really careful with how we use our water. We don't have a swimming pool. We don't have any large bodies of water on our property evaporating. This right here is a dwarf ruby red grapefruit. And we've had this for three years, or maybe this is going to be the 4th year. Oh, thanks, Mick. I'm glad you like it. I think this is going to be the 4th year. But this tree is wonderful. I haven't had any problems with it. And it actually set 11 really juicy, large red grapefruit on last year, which is pretty amazing. I mean, this tree, it might be almost as wide as I am tall. And it's probably at the highest point right there that I'm spraying, maybe 3 feet tall. So it's a very small tree and it's very productive. This is a wonderful tree. I highly recommend the dwarf ruby red grapefruit. And it could potentially get up to 15 feet tall. But if you don't have a lot of space, this might be a good addition to your yard, kind of like the kumquat too. That one grew very slowly and it's compact. And most trees, you're actually able to prune them. Oops, my hose is wrapped around here. Let's go the other way, around, kind of like a dog on a leash that wraps around a pole, right? There we go. I'm still working with a garden, so I've got pots and stuff, whatnot, shovels, dirt bags, everywhere. Okay, so this garden is also pretty cool. I have some medicinal herbs in here. I have marshmallow root and clary sage. We also have some parsley and some cilantro. Back here we're growing quinoa, and I have it in these little tunnels that I sewed out of floating row cover fabric, because otherwise the birds will eat them all down. The quail are adorable. I love them, but they eat anything. Actually, this is what they haven't tried eating, the clary sage or the marshmallow, so maybe it's too aromatic for them. And in here I have some red valerian that's coming back, which I'm so happy about because it took me time to actually get that to even germinate, right? So I'm thrilled that it's coming back because that kind of died off in the heat. And there's an echinacea back here that's coming back. And I'm trying to start some more of it. I don't know. It's kind of hit or miss. You don't always have a great germination rate. And sometimes there's a lot involved with like cold stratifying and just different types of growing conditions. Some don't want light, some want a lot of light. This is going to be my asparagus planter, and I have a really funny story to tell about asparagus. These are babies, but they're actually a little sturdier than some of the asparagus I've tried growing. Oops, sorry, I tilted too far. I've tried growing before, but they're all planted around the outside edge. And I had asparagus growing in the garden, and I had it for years, like 5 or 6 years, and it was skinny like that still. And I'm like, well, this is taking up too much space for my small backyard garden. And I ripped it out. Well, I missed one. And guess what? It came back and it had a big, thick stalk of asparagus. So what I learned from that is you got to really be patient with anything that you plant. It takes time for it to mature. So eventually, we're going to have some beautiful asparagus and quite a bit of it in that pot right there. So back over here, in the very back, there's a blackberry that hasn't woken up. There's some catnip. Catnip repels those hornworms that can just eat your tomatoes and your peppers in one night. We have some Thornton tomatoes back here. These Thornton tomatoes actually did not die off in the heat last year. Now this is the most shadiest part of my yard, but they survived the 120 degrees for 5 days that we had, and they produced really flavorful, medium-sized tomatoes, having quite a few of them. So I saved the seeds from those, and as you can see, I'm growing a lot. I'm hopeful to get more tomatoes than I have been this year. And this is our Stella cherry. It's a new addition, and it survived the 5 days of 120, and it was a stick. We've had this is going to be its 3rd year, and you can see that it went from being a stick to adding its own branches. And back over here, we're going to have cucumbers, and we're gonna have sunflowers. And in just a second, once I water it, I'll show you. They're doing pretty good under that floating row cover fabric. I put it there initially just to keep the birds from eating the tender shoots, but it's actually giving it a little sunscreen too, right? Which is kind of nice because it takes a while to get hot here, but it seems like the heat just suddenly comes on, and sometimes your plants aren't ready for that. Oh, okay. You wait till Easter to transplant. Gotcha. Okay, thanks for that, James. All right, so back here you can see underneath here, you need to give some of this a little more water, but it's hiding. Got some watermelon and some sunflowers there. Or actually, no, I'm sorry, it's not watermelon. I thought it was cucumbers. Okay, sorry, it's cucumbers and sunflowers. They look a lot alike when you first that stuff comes up. So I highly recommend labeling your plants, right? I've had years where I didn't label stuff and I was like, what is this? And the other thing is when you live in the desert sun like we do, check out those aloe flowers. Those are so beautiful. When you live in the desert sun like we do, the sun bleaches out your tag. So I like to point my tags in the opposite direction of the sun so the color marking lasts a little bit longer. It really helps. That's my pointer, my tip for the day. You better go check on our grow room and see how that's doing. I've been transplanting stuff out of the grow room into the garden. And so I have trays now that I need to plant. But as I'm planting, I'm screening the dirt because this dirt has all this wood in it. And they even told us that there wouldn't be wood in this dirt, but there is. And the wood in this environment, did I undo this? Oh, good, I did. The dirt in this environment with a little bit of humidity sprouts mushrooms, so that's not great. We don't want that, right? So up here we have some amaranth growing, and we have, yeah, you know what? That's a really big motivation for me. It's very hard to grow here in the desert, James, but I'm very motivated to get better at it because you're right. Groceries are getting more expensive, and you don't always know what's been put on your produce when you buy it at the store, right? There's some conspiracy theories out there, and I don't know which ones are true and which ones aren't. So the more you can grow, the more money you'll save. So we've got a variety of peppers up here going. And let me pull my little step ladder over. I can't quite reach that, but I'll show you. We've got a few setting on. And my Tabasco pepper didn't come up. Oh well. But these are Thai chilies right here. And this was something I had in the hydroponics, and you can see if you look closely, there we go. It's putting on new ones, right? But an interesting thing, I'm trying to grow pineapple, and I read that they're companions with peppers, and two of them are actually, they have new growth. So I think I'm going to succeed with growing some pineapple. And I added these humidity monitors because I was having a hard time telling if something was dry or moist in here. And I definitely don't want to get it too moist because then you get root rot and just other problems, right? So I have some peppers and pineapples. You can see a couple of these didn't work too well right there. So I'll take those out. And then over here we have tomatoes. And I had like a whole crop of tomatoes, but they were the ones from October. So we're in the process of starting new ones. But some of these are experimental. These are like larger tomatoes. And I was kind of hoping that they would kind of fall over or light and produce. I don't know if that's going to work or not. Some of them were a little leggy and I trimmed them back. Who knows? I can always put them outside too. Well, the thing about the Thai chili peppers is you don't use much of it. You grind it. I like curry. Do you like curry? I love to make homemade curry. I finally learned how to do that, and it's really good. And you just use a little bit in your whole dish of curry. Here's some ginger. This is some store-bought ginger. It was actually really easy to root. I like to have a little bit of ginger every day. It's got a lot of preventative health benefits. And I'm trying sweet potatoes in here. I don't know how well that's going to work. If nothing else, and it is a small container too. If nothing else, these leaves are edible and they're fabulous in salad, right? And then this is a purple sweet potato. One thing that I have to do in this environment is I have this concoction that a friend told me about. You chop up onions and garlic and you add a little cayenne pepper, some water, you let it sit overnight. Yeah, I would love to grow some turmeric. I'm trying to find some turmeric that can root or either plants, right? I do turmeric and ginger both. Thank you. What was I saying? Anyway, we have some cauliflower back here. I was reading that they like low light conditions. So I have a bunch of peppers here that I want to transplant. These are an experiment too. I bought some Italian sweet bell peppers that were long and really cool looking. So there were some red ones, there were some yellow ones, and there were some purple ones. And I saved the seeds from them. You never know if they're going to actually be GMO or if they're actually going to work, but I saved the seeds and they germinated. So I'm actually going to transplant those out of here, right? They're too cramped in this space, into other containers. And we have some nasturtiums and some parsley here. And I'm going to try growing them and see if we get the same thing, or actually I'll eat any sweet pepper. It's pretty good. And these are strawberries that we started from seed. These are Alexandria strawberries back here. And it took a long time, but we finally got some to germinate. I probably should separate them out a little bit. But the cool thing about strawberries is they'll send runners. And so even if you don't get a whole lot to germinate, like I didn't get anywhere near the amount of strawberries to germinate as seeds that I put out, the runners will start new plants. So if you get any to start, you're set. Down here we have some New Zealand spinach. And this is kohlrabi here. And some lettuces. Back here I have some more radishes started, some more lettuces, some Swiss chard, kale and arugula. I recently transplanted and moved my beets around because as I've been able to take stuff and take it out of the grow room, plant it outside, it made it possible for me to have more room for the plants inside and move them and space them out a little bit. Some of them look a little rough, but they will recover. That's Swiss chard down there. Where did I put the other beets? Oh, over here. So when you move them and disturb the roots, they look a little rough initially, but these things are pretty hardy and they do really well. They come back pretty strong. These are some onions here. And the back here, we're going to have onions, carrots, and chamomile. And then back over here, we just have onions and carrots, and that has done really well in the heat of that window. More radishes, you can see we're starting to get some here. And that funky white stuff, I added some diatomaceous earth to my soil because that's supposed to be good with fungus gnats. This room isn't as humid as it was. I was getting, before it got warm enough to open up the windows, I was getting like 80% humidity, which is quite a bit. Like you don't want it to be higher than that. And the fungus gnats were going nuts. Like I was literally vacuuming off the floor. And it's a little messy in here because I've been working so much. But yeah, so the diatomaceous earth, definitely mix it into the soil before you put any water on it because it turns into a mess. Down here, I still have a few more herbs to transplant. Oh, I have two more chamomile plants down there. I have some self-heal. I've heard really good things about that, and I just want to try it out for myself. We'll see if I can keep it alive. And I think that's a black cumin right there. Have you heard of black cumin seed oil? I put quite a few seeds in there and only see one coming up. Oh well. And this is an apricot cutting from my tree. It takes a long time to root hardwoods, and I've never actually succeeded in doing that, but I haven't given up on it yet. If I succeed, we'll find a place to put it. This is the green tea plants that I appear to have killed. The planter I had them in, it was really wet. I had no idea. I should probably put one of those humidity things in there, but I thought I'd give it one more try, see if I can revive it. I don't know if I can, but we'll try. I mixed the soil with some sand, right? I felt like maybe it didn't have enough drainage. It was too compact. The really bad soil I've been getting, quality of soil I've been getting from the store, unfortunately. Here we have a success. See these green leaves? I rooted this fig cutting. I'm so happy about that. More catnip. I don't know if this fig cutting will root or not. I just took it. And some more lettuces. And that pretty much wraps up everything I have growing today. Mr. Painter is coming home tonight, so I'm washing the sheets. I'm gonna bake some bread. I'm gonna go be Mrs. Painter and Susie Homemaker at the same time. I hope you enjoyed the tour of our garden and our grow room, and I hope you have a blessed day. Thanks for watching.